The topic we will be discussing today requires a lot of your creativity and imagination. Yes, we are indeed talking about developing a story and narrating an experience. You must remember a short story is a work of fiction or imagination. It must be written in an easily understandable grammatical structure and natural flow of speech. There are 5 key elements to developing a story. Let's start off with characters. But in writing skill, remember to develop fewer characters, which includes a protagonist, lead character, the main characters who participated in the main action of the story. Next, we move on to the setting. Every story has a time and place setting which constitutes the backdrop or background. When you develop a story, make sure you focus on the setting and the description. Remember, these descriptions should be brief, poetic, and vivid, clear. Next, we will be discussing an important element, that is, the plot. Make sure you describe and logically connect the events and actions for a stronger plot in your story. A plot has a start or a beginning, a body, and a conclusion. Make sure you pay attention to the details and descriptions. Fourth, you could develop a conflict maybe between characters, thoughts, emotions, etc. Remember, conflict gives life to short stories. B. It can be between characters, thoughts, emotions, beliefs, or anything. C. You can create conflict between the protagonist and the main characters or the protagonist, in conflict with himself, herself. Lastly, we'll be discussing the theme or the central idea of the short story. It is essentially the framework of the short story, decorated with the characters, plot, setting, and conflict. Unleash your creativity. The theme, genre of your story could be motivational, spiritual, based on humor or horror, or it could be a sci-fi or adventurous story. So, now we have learnt the 5 elements of writing a story. Let's summarize. Character. Fewer is better. Setting. Brief, poetic, vivid. Plot. As simple and interesting as possible. Conflict. Intense but one. Theme. Relative and creative. Let's consider an example. Students, remember to read the question carefully. The question will provide you either an end or a beginning statement. The same statement must be used. Notice that in this question, you have been provided with an end statement. So, we use the same while concluding the story. In the given story, you need to start off with a title for your story. You may come up with the title at the end too, once you fix your plot, theme, and characters. Make sure you write your story in 80 to 100 words. So, in this story, there are 2 main characters. The setting is of a house and the theme is a thriller and mystery. Remember to use personal pronouns if you are going to be one of the characters, main character. Since the last line is given, end with the same line. Narrating an experience. Students, now that we have learned how to write a story, let's learn how to narrate an experience. There is a key difference between writing a story and narrating an experience. In narrative writing, You are supposed to rely on facts and your memory to tell a story, experience, whereas in case of a story, writing you make up the content. Therefore, the story, characters, plot, etc. is fictional. The common topics which can be asked are a childhood event, a good or bad deed, a failure you encountered, etc. Let's now learn how to write a narrative type of content. Firstly, you should narrate an experience in such a way that one reveals the entire experience. You should also focus on help the readers visualize everything in their minds. You must divide your plot into a setup, a main part followed by a thrilling conclusion. Next, we need to move on to things you need to keep in mind. 1. Use personal pronouns like I, me, mine, myself, etc. since you would be narrating a personal experience. 2. Give a proper but brief description of characters and places. Try to use imagery to provide vivid details of crucial objects. 3. Try to conclude dialogues in your narration. Also, try to incorporate spice in the form of unpredictable twists or climax. So let's summarize. You need to keep in mind all of these points to narrate an experience. Let us consider an example given in this question. The experience given is related to something now that is being learned and how that can prove to be a scary experience. Here, the experience describes the process of learning to swim. Read through the experience and attempt one of your own.